Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. I wanted to, at this time, bring to your attention a rather unusual development on the court docket in State of Idaho versus Brian C. Kohberger. First, by way of background, our last episode of this continuing podcast series, presented to you by the Indie Zone, entitled Idaho versus Kohberger, that is episode number 752, discussed the filing of July 2nd, 2025, which was signed by Brian C. Kohberger. It is written factual basis adjacent to his plea of guilty for the 5 counts that were brought against him by indictment. We noted what the document stated. We noted that this was signed by Mr. Kohberger on July 1st, 2025. In looking at the docket today, and this is the morning of the 4th of July, 2025, happy Independence Day to all in the United States. There is now a new document that appears to have been added on the 3rd of July. Sometime during the day. It was not on the docket in the morning of the 3rd when I looked at it in order to present episode number 752 for you. If you look at the docket today, you will see that there is a new filing. It's dated July 2nd, 2025, and it is a second filing of the written factual basis. If you click on the hot link, you will see that it is a duplicate of the document that was previously filed. There's nothing different. There's nothing amended. They're both dated July 1st, 2025. And how we can confirm that this is a duplicate filing is by looking at the upper right-hand corner of the filing. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever you look at any document in the court file of State of Idaho versus Brian C. Kohberger, you will see that it might be a motion, it might be a court order, it might be an affidavit, it might be a notice of hearing. In the upper right-hand corner, you will typically see information that was not on the document when it was signed. For example, if it's a motion by one of the parties, the information on the upper right-hand corner is stamped information by the clerk of court, who maintains records in this case. You will see that both filings have the exact information. It states, both of them filed 7/2/25, in other words, July 2nd, 2025, and the time of day 14:47:41. This would be approximately 2:47 and 41 seconds on the 2nd of July is when this document was filed by whom? Trent Triple, clerk of court. We see his name and his title in bold, and just above that, clerk of court for 4th Judicial District in Idaho for Ada County. But it wasn't physically filed by Mr. Triple. It was filed by a staff member, Deputy Clerk Renee Waters. We've seen Ms. Waters' name come up time and time again on other filings in this case. With that said, if you inspect both documents, you will see that they are duplicates. The question remains, why were they filed twice on the docket? Having presented now 754 episodes of the Indie Zone podcast of Idaho versus Kohberger, I have looked at this docket up and down hundreds of times, and I do not recall any document being filed twice. This is in what I believe to be a first in the case. This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone podcast. My name's Kathy. Thank you for joining us today.